I'm going to turn it over to this amazing panel to Lisa Grow, the CEO of Idaho Power. Thank you for being here, you guys. Thanks you all.
Thank you. Well, just the whole energy of this symposium has been sort of like a reunion of sorts. I see a lot of old friends that I think I don't know if it's trauma bonding or you just, you accomplish something really great. And it's one of those things that I'm certainly really proud of. And I'm so proud to sit up here with these amazing leaders. And we're going to be talking about sort of what happens next. And so these are all leaders that I greatly admire. We have Cindy Crane, CEO of Pacificor, Tracy LeBeau, Administrator and CEO of WAPA, Don Lindell, the new CEO of, relatively new, CEO of Seattle City Light, and Caroline Wynn, the CEO of San Diego Gas and Electric. And so, we've just seen this video, and I also remember when Pacificor took that leap and just said, what if? And then went and did something. And that incremental sort of organic growth, I think, I have been in this industry, I worked for Idaho Power for 37 years. And I have gone through every single iteration of trying to form a market that just always it felt like maybe we were trying to do too much at once and it just sort of collapsed under its own weight. And this was the first time we were able to do something. So thank you for the leadership there. And I remember at the time I was sort of like, oh, did Pat Wrighton just break up with us? And then I realized that it was building something that was going to make a difference to all of us and all of the benefits that our customers have enjoyed from that. So thank you for that. And I do think the system is more reliable, more resilient, and more affordable. So what's next? And really, how should we be thinking about the evolution of the markets in the West? Now, there are a lot of topical issues that we're all thinking about and really that surround the day-ahead market formation, certainly governance, economics, physics, the seams, reliability, resilience, affordability, just to name a few. So let's dive in. Now, I'm just going to ask each of you to respond to these questions, and I'll start with Cindy, and we'll work our way around. So, study after study has demonstrated EDAM benefits from a large footprint with strong connectivity. So, I'm curious, is that a decision maker for each of your companies? And what are the greatest opportunities for your customers? So Cindy, I'll start with you.
All right, appreciate that, Lisa. And Pacificor was very excited to take the leap for EIM. And where we sit today, we are also just as excited to be a first mover with EDAM in partnership with the CAISO. We announced our intent to join EDAM back in December of 2022. And our decision was really first and foremost informed by our early involvement in the EIM and then the resulting benefits that it's delivered for our customers. We have most definitely done studies, and we've just recently updated our EDAM study as well. And those studies have done nothing but substantiate that this is the best move for these markets in the West to be able to move and capture benefits for our customers and stable, reliable grid services for those customers. Our energy sector, I guess is the best way to put that, we're facing a lot of challenges. Customer affordability has been mentioned numerous times today. We also have the need to reduce emissions. And then certainly reliability for our customers. Pacificor, we firmly believe that EDAM will be a very successful and advanced energy market, and that it is going to be what provides the ability for the sector to achieve and overcome the challenges that we currently have in the sector. So we couldn't be more excited today to be able to share our story of EIM and launch our story around EDAM as well.
Well, and for those of us that joined EIM after you guys went, I know you figured out a whole lot of problems. So again, really grateful for that as well. Tracy.
Yeah, us as well, because we were a little late coming in as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, for those of you who aren't totally familiar with our systems, we've got just around 17,000 miles of high voltage in 15 states. So what that means is, on our eastern edge, we go as far as Iowa, and then obviously all the way west to California and north to Montana and south to Arizona. So what would work and what works for maybe our eastern edge customers, may not necessarily be the case for our western customers. So we've always taken the approach of, we just got to focus on what is right for our utility customers, our preference customers, what brings value to them, what recognizes the value of hydropower is very important to us and our customers as well. So on our eastern side of our system, we've got a lot of our system in an RTO, kind of jumped right from zero right into RTO. That's worked out very, very well for us for the last 9 years now. But to our west, we're just situated very differently on the western side of our system. I mean, obviously we've got a couple thousand miles here within California that we own and operate in Northern California. But we also, deliver power from Hoover and from Parker Davis, Glen Canyon, in the desert Southwest. And it just is the case. And it's not just because, we're part of the Department of Energy and we're geeks and like physics. It's actually just the case that we have really only one decently sized line that goes east out of Arizona. And so just the connectivity is just very, very important to us, just to realize just the reality of physics. And we look to our west out of Arizona, and we've got thousands of megawatts of connectivity coming west throughout this desert Southwest and California. So going into EIM, we did do a cost benefit analysis for our desert Southwest with our partners, with our customers. Looked at SPP's energy and balance service, and we looked at EIM, and our customers were resolute that the value to them really was in EIM, and that's proven out to be the case for the last year that we've been in EIM. And the case is the same for our California customers as well. And so we're definitely on a track to study cost benefits for EDAM and engaging very heavily in EDAM, but a lot is based on connectivity and just deliverability.
Yeah, and there is nothing wrong with being a nerd and liking physics. We all right? Yes, Don.
Thank you. Okay, so first, before I answer the question, I just have to say I'm a little bit in awe to get to be on stage with these fabulous women in power. So yes, it's very exciting to get to hang out on a stage of us. Woo-hoo. I think the last time I was on a stage with all women, it was at a women's conference. So, that was wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but it was a little bit different. So at Seattle, we're in the throes of our decision making, and customer benefit analysis will be key in helping us to decide what market we go to. For us, I keep saying it's really a lot about the math, the financial benefits, and the physics math as well. So to just live in my geekiness, that I think matters a lot. And we want to, of course, make sure that we've got the reliability, the operational reliability, and that we are able to be where we can get, where our peak may not match the peak of everyone else in the market, because that's super beneficial to us. It's super beneficial when we can supply power to others who need it, and then have the funds from that help us meet the power needs we might have on our winter peaking, our winter peaking situation. So that's key. The ability to meet our decarbonization goals, that's also key, critical. And now I will say a little bit of bragging about something I had nothing to do with at all, but Seattle did reach net zero carbon way back in 2007, I think, or maybe 2005. It was a long time ago. And that's both generation and operationally. So my air travel here will offset the diesel fuel that we use in our trucks that we send out to work each day, that's also offset. And we had a peak of 2,027 megawatts on Martin Luther King Jr. weekend this year. In the next 10 years, we've got to add 1,825 megawatts of additional capacity, and my guess is that's low. So we're about to double our nameplate capacity, and we're looking for a market that can help us with that as well, and that has the transmission capability to enable us to continue to diversify in a carbon neutral way. So all of that will play in. Our bridal study is set to complete in December, and that will certainly help to inform us.
Excellent. All right, Caroline.
Well, Dawn, I think you're in good company because I know all of us and we're all geeks, so.
Yeah, you are.
That video was terrific. And, if you look back over the last 10 years, I think that all that has participated in EIM has seen tremendous benefits, right? And since inception a decade ago, over $6 billion of economic benefits. And that translates into real savings for customers at a time where it's so important when you think about affordability. Affordability is such an acute issue across our industry, right? And especially in California. So when we think about EDAM and the opportunities in that, I mean, you all have seen the studies that in a fully implemented EDAM, it's $1.2, $1.4 billion every year in benefits, growing to over $2 billion. These are benefits directly for customers that we need to be pursuing this heavily. So we're all in. We're all in about creating more savings for our customers. And as we think about just the grid development in the West and all of the investments that still need to be done for whether it's climate change, the clean energy transition, electrification, our customers need the savings to help offset some of these costs. So I can't say enough about the importance of EDAM. And I think, when you think about just the line of sight and what we have today with the CAISO, think about the visibility that we would have to increase our reliability and resilience outside of the CAISO footprint. And I can't think of a more important area also when you think about just the heat-related issues that we've seen this summer. 2024, I think, was the hottest summer for most of the Southwest states and cities, right? Phoenix, 113 straight days of over 100-degree weather, smashing records. WEC, 168 gigawatts of load, all-time historical peak. And so if you just think about the heat, and then you add on wildfires, that can also threaten the interconnection of the transmission grid. Again, I just can't think of a better time and to really pursue EDAM, and been really impressed with the progress and the speed of that progress to date.
Yeah, those are all great thoughts, and certainly I think, when you think about when EIM started with just PacifiCorp and going, through Bonneville to CAISO, and then the incremental benefits that accrued, with each company that was added. So it seems like, and the studies support, the larger the footprint, it seems like the greater the benefit. So certainly, I think we're all in agreement there. So there's also the reality that we're probably going to have seams somewhere. So how are you thinking about that? I have a bias towards, the fewer the better. But, how are you guys thinking about seams?
I'll go
ahead.
first if you're
Oh,
okay
sure.
with that, Lisa. But coming back to the comment around EIM, if you really think about it, EIM has paved the road, and it's, we're now into the second verse, right? First song, second verse of that song, because EDAM is going to amplify that even further. And, we don't have seams issues in EIM. And so when we think about seams, as PacifiCorp, because we have two balancing authorities, and so, from that standpoint, we are committed, first and foremost, to make sure that we have seams agreements in place where and when, they need to be realistically, and to be able to handle the management of that effectively. I go back to the lessons we've learned from EIM, which one of the very large lessons is reliability, reliability, reliability. And also in earlier panels today, the discussion of the transmission panel, the discussion around the need to get every squeeze of juice out of our existing transmission and our existing generation. And that is paramount, and that is what EDAM will do for us throughout the West. And so, as we think about SEAMs, we look at that they're going to be what they're going to be, so we're going to manage through that. But they do create a loss of efficiency in the system. And so, we need, and SEAMs agreements don't overcome the loss of efficiency. And so, we're very, very committed. Point in case, again, going back to an EIM example, in January, with the ice storms and everything going on in the Northwest was importing over 6,000 megawatts. And that, mostly coming out of the desert Southwest. And that was being facilitated by EIM. And EIM through California, through Pacific Corp system and Idaho system. And so, we look at those examples and, seamless is the word we like, but where SEAMs need to be, we're committed to make sure we have good SEAMs agreements in place.
Yeah, and so Tracy, your system is probably most, likely to have a seam, just in fact, probably internally to you. So how do you think about that? How do you run your system sort of in two separate markets?
Yeah, because right now, like I said, the eastern part of our system, so the Dakotas and part of Montana, we're on a seam with MISO. And it's been going pretty well. I mean, is it the most ideal? No, but people find a way to figure it out. And I've been really heartened at the fact that as we work with SPP, as we work with MISO, because we have lots of customers in the MISO footprint that we need to service in Minnesota and East. So, we've got, we're all very, dedicated to try to find solutions. So the relationship that has been emerging between MISO and SPP, I hope is going to be instructive to us out West, because, they have been increasingly finding, ways to, to coordinate planning. I mean, we talk so much about the need for interregional transmission and planning. In this case, they have gotten together and have been coordinating and doing that. So that's, that I think that's a good sign. They've been coordinating on generator interconnection processes and, and also even to the point of having a new joint targeted interconnection queue for interregional. So I think there's solutions if folks are motivated and keep their eye on the ball, which is, keeping, servicing customers and incentivizing, as much coordination as possible to keep rates down.
Yeah. And Dawn, given your sort of unique geographic location, how are you thinking about SEAMs?
Sure. So, like everyone has said, I mean, SEAMs introduce inefficiency and they introduce complications. So fewer SEAMs are better. I do believe we can work through SEAMs agreements, but they will not, as Cindy said, be able to overcome all of that inefficiency and all of those complications. We'll be dealing with them. And so, for me, fewer SEAMs are better. We know we're going to have them. I would prefer that we didn't create them, but we probably will. We probably will have those to deal with. Without the full visibility of a centralized dispatch, the trading between markets will be more risky, and it favors speculative trading shops who may be in multiple roles, and that's going to increase costs for everybody. And I don't like increased costs. I like decreased costs for my customers. So, and studies have also found that a divided market is likely to increase carbon emissions due to greater amounts of renewable curtailments. And I don't like that either. You know, I have kids, I hope to have grandkids at some point, and I really want us to manage the impact on the planet. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and Carolyn, you've been inside an RTO, and so everything outside is sort of a seam. How are you thinking about it?
Well, listen, I'd agree with what Dawn said. I mean, I think that seams can create a lot of inefficiencies. They're not ideal. However, I will say that relationships really matter. I mean, if you think about just 2024, we managed the summer with no flex alerts. Yeah, yay, right? Yay for the state, right? Yay for all of us. Yeah. And I think it's because, you know, we've been through a lot. We've been through the energy crisis. We've been through the summer of 2020 and things didn't go so well. So taking the time to create trusting relationships with other entities, I think has really benefited us and can help us work out the seams, right? Whether it's an agreement, whether it's relationships. I've seen great improvement just, you know, I would say in the last 5 years in terms of our ability to manage on a broader kind of Southwest than I've seen in the past. So I think that's key.
Yeah, it's so important because I think sometimes we forget, you know, going back to the nerdiness, we all operate parts of the most complex machine that I think that humans have ever built. And it requires collaboration and coordination and you know, there's some competition that's built into the markets for sure. But, you know, I just feel like having spent most of my life in this industry, it's such an honor to, you know, to be able to serve in that way and provide such a basic service that everybody relies on. And, you know, I know it's having a moment right now as we've talked about demand going up and how we're going to have to deploy all these tools. And it feels like this has just been this opportunity that's been waiting to, you know, someone to pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to continue to see great things. So, Carolyn, this may not be a fair question to ask you to start because I get it that since you're inside California, I believe it was in 2020, there was the issue with the transmission in California that, you know, caused quite an upset. There was the change. And so there was an upset, and it seems like sometimes there's some lingering feelings about that. And I'm sort of curious, how are things going now? And really, what have we learned? And is there a way to apply the lessons that we've learned that we could solve other problems with?
Yeah. You know, I do believe the market expansion into EDM is a real opportunity to build upon what we've learned as part of the EIM. Mm-hmm. From a cost savings perspective, from an economics perspective, as well as to harmonize really the operation across the West from a reliability and a resiliency for our customers. And, you know, I don't want to speak for others in California, but I will say that there's a level of engagement, and it is obvious that there's a higher level of enthusiasm amongst the entities. You heard from Mark Joseph, the head of labor today, talking about you know, wanting to initiate a bill, right? Labor hasn't always been with us. You all know this. You've been on the journey with us. So things have changed, and it's I feel much more collaborative. I think there is a agreement that a properly structured market that benefits everybody is what we need to go towards. And I'm just encouraged with the changes that are occurring in the governance area. We knew that this was going to be an issue. We've talked about it for years, right? The 3 failed legislative bills, but it's different now. So I feel that we're in such a better place in terms of the Pathways Initiative, in terms of the 26-member launch committee that represents all the different entities, all the different stakeholders, right? Public, private utilities, labor, consumer advocates, power generators, power marketers, right? And we've all come to an agreement of what we need to do, and now it's about moving forward. And so I've been really, really pleased with the progress, especially over the last year, and the speed of that progress.
Yeah, and I would agree too, but going back to January, had the market not sent us the power we needed, I don't know what we would have done.
Right.
Honestly. And so, to see that it, aside from it's kind of an isolated upset or a paradigm shift that happened, we've sort of moved beyond it, and it seems like things have gone much better.
Yes.
People understand the rules better, and we're able to sort of run the market in a way that truly does benefit. But it does feel like there's a trust component that sort of hangs out there.
Yeah, I think people have long memories, right?
Elephantine memories in our business, yes.
Right, so
Yes.
you got to get over that, but I do feel things are different now.
Yeah. And Dawn, is that sort of part of any of your decision making? Is there, that kind of, well, watch out, this is a trick or something that you should be worried about, or how are you feeling about it? And I don't mean to be putting words in anyone's mouth, but I just think that, they're in our decision making, it's there. So I kind of want to just put it out there so we can talk about it.
Yes, well, I'll echo what Caroline said about being, we've been able to be part of the recent stakeholder process on governance. I believe that CAISO really listens to its stakeholders and is getting better at that and better at that and better at that, more responsive, and with more opportunities to contribute. I think that's a step in the right direction, and I think that makes a big difference. So, things will happen that are unexpected. We've all seen that in our own utilities as well. So it's really not do they happen, it's how we deal with the outcome on the other side of that and how do we work to fix it. And so while that didn't have a direct impact on Seattle, we do appreciate the steps that were taken to help fix the issues that were at the root cause, and would also most notably say the high priority wheel-through option that's provided some clarity around the availability of transmission on its system. So as we're looking to expand our diversity of resources, as we need to add all of that generation, with that transparency, gives us the ability to make wiser decisions on what we may do. And so we're greatly appreciative of that. I believe that the steps that we've taken, the team that's worked on pathways and getting us to the options we've got in front of us are the right steps to take. And give me great hope. I think all we can do is, when things go awry, all we can do is fix them, right? We can't go backwards. So I really appreciate the efforts.
Yeah, and Tracy, given that, you guys are a government entity that has, kind of its own set of rules, you feel like you're, listened to, you feel like there's place for your issues to be considered and included?
Yeah, absolutely. And, relative to, that trust issue, that folks have been trying to work through over the last couple years. I think what's really helped for us, and I'm going to talk more specifically about, our Desert Southwest, or Arizona and Nevada, that going into the EIM and being in the EIM for a year, and having that experience, the operational experience, having it be successful, really did help go a long ways towards rebuilding trust. I feel like the ISO's teams have been refining process, so it's not just happy talk, that we're just going to trust that we're going to do the right thing. We're actually seeing it in action. We're getting signals earlier, so we can, do what we need to do on our end. I know our control rooms talk to each other. I can tell you that on, when some difficult operational weekends, and don't they always happen on the weekends?
Always.
I always get a call from Elliot saying, hey, how are you guys doing? And checking in, and which also causes me to check in with our dispatchers to see how things are going. But they say, is the West perfect in terms of, do we have the right generation always at the right time? No, and so it just really, I think we just all need to be, working together closely to get through these tough times. And what we've seen is that we've done it. So for the last year, I feel like it's been very, very successful in that regard. And that really helped us bring together our, our electric co-op customers and public power customers, recently to have the conversation of, okay, now that we've had a year of EIM and we have had talk, but we have also seen a positive action that, is this time to start talking about, formally exploring EDAM. And I don't think that conversation would have been possible 2 years ago. But I think, now that we've had that experience, that conversation is possible. So that's, about 2 weeks ago, we did announce that we're going to start formally, exploring EDAM for our Desert Southwest.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear. And I get it that, the more you repair, you build the trust, you continue on. That's been kind of the secret sauce of our industry for a long time. Cindy, how are you thinking about it?
On the wheel-through issue, we really weren't affected, similar like Dawn. But I do think that, we've been on a journey and, there's bumps in the road along the way periodically. And it's how we come together. It's how we address the issue, how we make things better, how we listen. And that does rely on relationships and everybody, coming to the table. And so, we've watched that play out and just extremely pleased with how CAISO is engaged on those issues and really put the attention, to make things better and to make sure we're all learning as we go. And I think that is what you have to do, when you're doing new stuff.
Yeah.
And, and as we, just like, we're working towards the implementation of EDAM and, we've got questions, we've got, those types of things. And the CAISO team has just stepped up and, we're engaging with them almost every single day. And it's together is how we're going to get there. Mm-hmm. And I think you can apply that to almost everything is we'll get there together and we'll all be better for it. And it will be for our customers, because that's why we're here. Mm-hmm. That's why we do what we do is for our customers. And that is the driving force, certainly for PacifiCorp, behind the need to move to EDAM.
Well, would you say just a little more about the lessons that you've learned? I mean, one, because I think we will all take notes because you did such a great job with EIM. But what are you learning about EDAM? Any early lessons learned that you would say for us followers out there that we can learn from and maybe avoid or do better?
Coming from a person who has implemented two of the largest IT systems in the history of PacifiCorp, it's a big IT system project. And anytime you have complicated IT projects that are so integral to your ability to operate your system and seamlessly and, potential for financial consequences and everything, you have to stay focused on the fact that you're dotting your I's, you're crossing your T's. And I would say choose good partners, the partners in the systems and everything in the development that needs to be done is really a partnership. And you're going to be in it together. Mm-hmm. And there's, like any big IT project, there's going to be some oh shit moments along the way. Mm-hmm. And it gets back to relationships, right? And it's how you all come together and work through them. That's, I think, critical to everything. And so, the team's doing a bang-up job. But it's a big lift.
And are you in a full, like, shadow mode? Are you sort of running it as though it's live? Are you to that point?
Not currently,
Okay.
no. So where we're at on implementation is obviously we have some of our key leaders here from our EDM implementation team, and
They're not at home working?
they're not at home
Okay.
working. You know, we do have to let them breathe.
Yeah.
Fresh air outside the building once in a while. Consider it a reward, you guys.
Wow.
Okay, it's a reward.
Gotta up
We're
your game
here,
on
we're
rewards,
here.
Cindy, yeah.
I think it was raining when we left Portland,
Well, all
but yeah, it's been a long year already.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not done yet, but it's been a long year for the team, and a lot of hard work. And this year's really been focused on, you know, kind of getting everything lined out, the planning, the scoping, getting the contracts in place, you know, right partners under RFPs and doing all of that, because really it's setting us up for next year.
Okay.
Right? And next year is a big year because you go into actual development and you start to, you know, to get yourself to the testing stage before you're going. At those points, we will be going into some parallel operations.
Okay.
But we're a ways away from that right now.
Okay, and you go live in early 27?
26.
26, I mean, yeah.
26, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Excellent, yeah, because it is one thing to say, yeah, that's what we're going to do, but then now, how are we going to
It's
do
a
that?
project.
Yeah, it is. And
It's a
how are you
project,
guys
and we
thinking?
have a plan, and we have a schedule, and we have a budget. And that's the discipline you have to apply, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like building a transmission line. It's a project. You got to have the discipline around it. And so the team's extremely well organized, because it touches so many tentacles in the organization, right? It's not just one core team. So they're doing a great job, and you know, we are completing right now the revisions or the updates to our open access transmission tariff, you know, and public stakeholder processes, and we are getting ready. Knock on wood, I don't see any up here, but the schedule says that you will be filing with FERC, you know, by Thanksgiving timeframe. So
This year?
yeah.
Okay.
So you know, so checking off the milestones and things that need to get done, and the team's all over it.
Okay, well,
So-
again, in the EIM implementation, you were such great partners to the entire region, helping us understand those lessons. And so, as Tracy, as you're thinking about it, you know, have you identified what it would take to implement, and how are you thinking about it? If you take that step, how big of a lift is it for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you're right on about our poor IT department. It's been what's that called? It's been for them everywhere, everything everywhere all at once.
Oh, yeah, right.
For the last couple of years, for us joining different markets, our entire footprint is in energy imbalance now. That all just happened in the last about 2.5 years. And so as we look at day ahead, you know, talked about our Desert Southwest, we're going to start looking at that, commissioning Brattle to help us out on that one. But we also, you know, today announced that we're going to start negotiations on EDAM for our Sierra Nevada region. And, you know, together with our, you know, awesome customer partners. I know Jim Shetler's here somewhere, and I saw Randy Howard earlier.
Yep.
You know, just incredible support and coordination, and a lot more coordination to come as we start, you know, figuring out what those timelines are for, you know, both going through the negotiations and then getting on the other side of that and finishing up. I mean, you'd mentioned before kind of the unique aspect of us being a federal utility. And the part of it's that, I mean, we have statutory contractual obligations that we just have to follow. There's no negotiating around that. And, you know, the ISO and the staff have been just incredibly, you know, just incredibly good to work with, to work through those very kind of unique issues that pop up for us. And then, you know, and then some of the market issues as well. So, and I know the board has been really supportive as well. So we're you know, we're happy. We're at the beginning of that process. So I'll be giving you a call, Cindy. Would love to hear updates on how that.
Yeah, great.
Since you're kind of
That's
on the
good
forefront.
notes. Yeah, John, how are you thinking about it? Is this a big decision maker for you on, you know, if or when you would go live? How are you thinking about what it's going to take to do that?
Sure. Well, as a person who spent 15 years of her career as a chief information officer,
Oh, well, then you get it done in the weekend.
I
Yeah.
do get the whole the whole system piece, and treating it like a project will be key with that accountability and that responsibility. You just have to apply the rigor. You really do. There's no way around it. You have to go through it, and you're going to have to. The phrase that's coming to mind is "bite the bullet," and I'm trying really hard not to say that because it's a terrible saying now. And but you just
Right.
just have to kind of sort of dig in and get there. And in terms of timing, once we make our decision, we'll have to define the right timing for us. But sooner is better, because the sooner we're in, the sooner we get the benefits. And we definitely need the benefits. We've, in addition to having to buy all of that power, I've got about $2 billion of assets to replace over the next 12 years. And it's just a big burden on our customers. And then you add the storm events on top of that, which, continue to take down infrastructure all over the country, therefore heightening the supply chain issues and the pricing that comes with that. And I don't see those becoming less. I see them becoming more. So anything that we can do to more rapidly save the money for our customers is important to do.
And Carolyn, how are people viewing this inside California? I mean, I know there's been, some think it's great because of all the benefits. Some think, oh no, they're going to bring all their brown electrons or whatever the concern is.
I've never said that.
How is it? How is it inside?
I think I mentioned earlier, I think that I would say, I can't speak for everyone, but I would say many in California, there's just a high level of enthusiasm now, certainly around having a properly structured market. I think people are seeing the benefits and can believe in the benefits and are getting behind it. I mean, again, this is not our first rodeo here in terms of trying to, westernize the transmission structure. However, I think that we've also learned lessons that this can't be California-centric. We know that, right? We learned that lesson. We've learned that we need to listen. We learned that we need to be reaching out to stakeholders and respecting other people, other entities and other states' jurisdictional requirements, making sure that it is equitable across all market participants. So what I love most about it is that we've learned, right? We have to be, in our industry, you have to be someone that is continuously improving. That means you're listening, that means you're learning, that means you're going to do things different and better the next time. And I really feel like this is the next time. This is our time. I mean, again, there is no better time to be addressing energy affordability. There's no better time to be talking about reliability and resiliency of our grid. With all of the clean energy coming out of the grid, we need each other, right? Stuff is going to happen. We talked about it. We're all operators up here. We've dealt with the wildfires. We've dealt with having to take transmission lines out. We've dealt with rolling blackouts. We know the impacts. So I just feel like there's an energy and enthusiasm in California that I've not seen before. I'm very happy about it. I mean, even today, just an hour ago, the governor issued an executive order on energy affordability. It is an acute issue. And again, not just in California. So I can't think of a better time for us to need to do this and move forward.
Yeah, boy, and that's, you think about it, I guess it's in 10 years, but it seems like this shift is even in a shorter time.
Yes.
And I do have to give a lot of credit for everyone that has rolled up their sleeves.
Yes.
And just tried to figure it out and understanding the issues. And I get it that there are strong, people have strong feelings for sure, but I think it goes back to what we've all been saying, there's sort of the economics, the math, and it's really hard to deny the benefits Certainly, there are other market designs and other places to be in the market, but the notion that you take your bat and ball and go home anymore, I think, is just a non-starter. And it is, I think it feels to me like the system is more reliable and more resilient, and you can't deny the $6 billion benefits. And so I agree with you. There's just a timing aspect to it of where everybody is now and how they can kind of go forward at a pace that they can, not kill their IT department and do harm in the process of getting to the finish line. But it is amazing, honestly.
I give Elliot and the CAISO a lot of credit for the relationships they build, but also that they're not trying to get in the middle of all of this either, right? This can't be seen, again, as a California initiative. This governance is really, really important. And what I love about our industry is we're all very open to share.
Yeah.
Right? What's your experience like in terms of EDAM implementation, the IT, and we're all wildfire. We all share our best practices. I think that's really important.
We're a mutual aid.
Yes.
We're a mutual aid focused industry.
Yeah, and again, I think it does go back to we all operate a piece of a very sophisticated, important machine, and it requires that, and I think that's the part that we all, that's the obligation you step into when you decide to take the helm. So, are there any? We've talked a lot about pathways and the governance, and I really do applaud the efforts. Think they're good first steps in trying to figure out what this looks like over time. Are there any deal breakers for you guys? Anything that or must-haves? Are there anything that, when you're thinking about your decision making, anything come to mind that you like where we're going, where the pathways is taking in terms of governance, or is there anything else that you're pondering in your decision making that are still unanswered?
Lisa, I'd say not for us. We clearly have made our decision, and we're going all in on it. And you know what? It's not scary, right? Because of EIM.
Yeah.
Right. This is not speculative, and we hope the benefits come, type of thing. We know they're there. We have proof of it, and I can't say enough great stuff about the Pathways Initiative. PacifiCorp's been involved with the initiative from its inception. We are extremely impressed with the progress that's been made, and super excited about the panels that were up today, because it's just a tremendous amount of work, a lot of collaboration and working through things. And, so I think PacifiCorp views that very much as another point where we're all coming together, and which is the natural evolution for the markets, right? For market. And so very exciting to see where we're at, and exciting to see where we're going.
Excellent. How about you, Tracy?
I don't know if there's any deal killers per se. Again, we've had really great, we've had very positive experience working with SPP on the eastern side of our system. Our customers are very comfortable. It's been a great experience. It's been very successful. Out here out west, I think it's been just fascinating the last couple of years to see the change, and particularly in the desert Southwest. I mean, you heard Commissioner Thompson talk this morning from Arizona, and he's reflecting what he's hearing, and he's reflecting what he's seeing. He's just been a great partner in that respect. We also involved in Pathways from day one on the initial launch committee, so wanted to see some solutions, very excited to see the trajectory of that as well. So, I think we've been taking the attitude again from day one, pretty basic, that, we just want to create value for our customers, that customers feel comfortable, and that we're seeing the true value of hydropower reflected in our activities and in the markets that we're joining. then that is definitely the right direction. And we try to just overcome issues as they come up, because you just expect the unexpected.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
we're all charting the new course, right? This is all new to all of us. So.
Yeah. Anything comes up for you, Dawn?
So for us, really must-haves include the independent governance oversight board. And Pathways 2.0 gets us a long way toward that, assuming that passes through the legislature. We don't want to stop there. We think we do need to move on to 2.5 and potentially beyond, because I think we'll just make better decisions that are more equal and for all participants. Washingtonians are proud. We're proud of our state, and we don't want to be ruled by the Republic of California, nice as though it is here. So, we need to have an equal voice. I think as does anyone. But again, the right steps have been taken. We were thrilled to have Josh Walter, part of the Pathways committee that's worked through this, and he's put in countless hours, as I know the other participants have as well. And we are so excited that our voice is being heard and that we are moving in the right direction, and that stakeholder process is key. So that would be another must-have for us, is a stakeholder process where we know we have a voice and we know we can get heard. So, we know it won't always go our way, we get that, but we want to be able to participate in those things that will shape the market.
Anything for you, Caroline, as you think about how it's developing? Is there anything that you are wanting to see more of, or a shift, or anything that's out there that you're wondering about?
Maybe not more of, but I mean, obviously, the path forward has to include three key principles: affordability, reliability, and transparency, right? And as long as we have those three principles, count us in.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I'm trying to remember if I heard this in the other panels, but the fact that it's voluntary, I think, is also something that is an important feature, because it does set up the right incentives. I know I've talked to folks in ISOs that have said, gosh, it's really hard for us to leave now, but maybe it didn't turn out the way we wanted. Not that it would be necessarily easy to leave, but it's the fact that it's voluntary, I think, is something that is really powerful and helps alleviate some of those concerns. And it feels like it sets the right incentives up for everyone, because we can all succeed or we cannot. And so it's, I think it goes back to that feeling of agency when this is our choice to do this. And all of us are starting at different places. And so it has to be a process that allows people to come in as they can and as they're ready to, and as they see the benefits evolving for their customers. And so I just think, when you really step back and think about all the complexity of all the things we've talked about today, it's really remarkable. It's a really remarkable point in history of our industry. And I think it's really something that we should all be very proud of, that we've gotten to this point. So, okay, wow, I yammered on a little too long.
I would just add to the, it's the voluntary nature with minimal notice, but it's also the added explanation of no exit fees.
Right.
Right. And so we're here on our own will. And I personally think that means you're going to give it your all.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what you're going to drive out of you and your organization and team, is we're here because we want to be here, and this is good for our customers, and we're going to give it all to it, make it work.
Awesome. Well, we've got a lot of support in getting there to the finish line as well. So we do have a few minutes for Q&A if there are any questions you have for these amazing folks. Oh, there we go. Sorry. I was thinking it was going to come up on this screen. All right. So it says on reliability, CAISO publishes quarterly economic benefits generated by the Western Energy Imbalance Market. While harder to quantify, have you also seen reliability benefits from the markets? I mean, I certainly can speak from an Idaho Power perspective. Absolutely. There have been times when had the energy not flowed up from the south, we would have been turning the lights off in Idaho. How about you guys?
Same here. Reliability is a huge benefit, that we've gotten out of the energy imbalance market, and we fully expect to have further enhanced reliability with EDM as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen wildfires in Oregon with the intertie out, we've
That's
seen,
right.
right? And again, to have one of the hottest summers on record and not have a flex alert, I think is a good sign that it's working better and we're working better together.
Yeah, I recall too in, what was the Labor Day? I'm forgetting the year off the top of my head, but I remember Elliot, was calling and saying, hey, it seemed like it was a matter of hours that it cooled off slightly in California so that energy could go north, and that heat dome in the Pacific Northwest was ugly, and it was felt like it was kind of a moment by moment thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, good examples.
Was that 2020, Elliot?
2023.
2023.
Okay, yeah. So
The
question.
other thing I might just jump in and say, not only more reliable, but also more environmentally sound. I mean, we're able to draw in solar and use that low-cost energy that enables us to save our water for those days we don't have it. And I think it's also the weather variability across a big footprint. That makes a huge difference because we're not all experiencing the same weather at the same time, and that lets us help each other, back to Tracy's earlier point. So there's a lot of benefit for having that really big footprint that covers a lot of different latitudes.
Yeah.
I would bring maybe the market question back to transmission.
Yeah.
Because as we look, particularly in the in Desert Southwest, we are fast becoming, the crossroads of Western transmission. Seems like everything is going through Arizona. It's either coming through our system or it's coming through our customer systems. And so, I look at, Hunter talked this morning, and, they, with SunZia, they, after their converter station, which is super awesome. If you can ever visit it, I encourage you. But their Western converter station, ends just east of Coolidge, where we've got a major substation, and we're gonna end up upgrading and expanding one of our lines to take them all the way to Palo Verde. Mm-hmm. And just having those types of really big interregional projects, interstate projects come through that, and South Line, and there's others coming through our system to have, and we're a part of that increasing deliverability at Meade, at Palo Verde, and other delivery points. That helps reliability quite a bit as well. So we're kind of thinking about this as a, kind of how is this helping us now, but how is this really going to help our customers in the future as well?
Maybe one last point to Tracy's is that, not only is there market transformation, but also, the time it takes us to build transmission,
Oh,
right?
Lord,
I mean, that's a whole nother panel, but permitting.
And a bottle of wine,
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but we are a little bit over time. Thank you so much for your attention and your questions, and thank you to all of these amazing leaders. You guys are just doing such fantastic things, and I'm just so honored to be up here with you all. So thank you very much.